I have luxuries I can do without. Electricity, air conditioning, toilet paper. There's not a lot of things I do habitually, but one of them is I drink coffee in the morning. The luxuries I don't do without are my black coffee. You can't take a man's coffee, and that's it.
No, you don't need no coffee. You're going through caffeine withdrawal.
What are you talking about?
Hey, just go get you a shot of B12 in your behind, you'll be fine.
And we'll be back with our regular scheduled programming of Buck Dynasty in just a moment. Today we have something very special for you all today about the effects of arsenic poisoning. We're going to go to our chemist in room 43. This is Kaylee Thurman, our chemist, and she's going to teach us a lot about arsenic today. So Kaylee, how was arsenic discovered?
Arsenic was discovered in approximately 1200 by a man named Albertus Magnus. He actually discovered the element by heating up soup in an arsenic compound called orpiment.
And what exactly is arsenic?
Arsenic is the 33rd element on the periodic table. It belongs to group 15 and period 4. It lies on the metalloid line, giving it some metallic and some non-metallic properties. Arsenic has a melting point of 1503 degrees Fahrenheit, a boiling point of 1137 degrees Fahrenheit, and a density of 5,727 kilograms. It has an electron configuration of 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6, 4s2, 3d10, and 4p3. It has 5 valence electrons, and it only needs to gain 3 electrons to become stable.
I see. And how is arsenic found in nature?
Arsenic is rarely found pure. It is usually found in a compound, but it can also be found in Earth's crust.
And how is arsenic used?
It is used in alloys for car batteries and lead shots. It is combined with gallium to make LED lights. Some other arsenic compounds are the arsenic trioxide, arsenic trichloride, and arsenic trifluoride.
It's very interesting. I think we've all learned a lot today, but one last question for you. What are the health impacts of arsenic?
Arsenic is very toxic. In low doses, it can cause nausea, vomiting, and even diarrhea. In large doses, abnormal heartbeats and damage to blood vessels can occur. But if you're exposed to it too long, it can cause cancer.
Well, that sounds very dangerous. Next, we're going to go see our doctor in Studio 69. Excuse me, Dr. Feelgood.
Yes.
Can you tell us some things about the effect of arsenic on the human body?
Yes. Psychological effects of ingesting arsenic include abnormal heart function, blood vessel damage, liver and kidney injury, impaired nerve functions. Dosage level for adults is the minimum of 70 to 200 milligrams. Symptoms include headache and confusion, drowsiness, vomiting, cramping muscles, hair loss, stomach pains, and convulsions. Tests to confirm for arsenic is urine test, blood test, fingernail sampling, and hair sampling. Treatments is chelation and mineral supplements.
Oh, I see. Well, thank you. You've been very helpful today.
No problem.
Okay. Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And now we're going to our next scene with the historian. And we'll be right back to our programming after a short word from our sponsors.
Oh, hi there! We are advertising Lysol disinfectant spray. Over nasty!
Free tickets today only. Go to Miss Hannah's room to get one. On sale now.
Welcome back. And now, we will go to our historian in studio room 1A. Mr. Still Your Girl, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to ask you some questions about arsenic poisoning.
Go ahead.
Do you know any famous people that have died from arsenic poisoning?
Well, just to name a few, there was King George III. Everybody thought he had like a blood disorder and that's what killed him. And he did have the blood disorder, but it was also because the medicine that they used to treat it had arsenic in it, and that kind of contributed to his death. Another one was Napoleon Bonaparte. Everyone just thought he had stomach cancer or something when he was a captive in the South Atlantic. But it was rumored for a while that he was poisoned with arsenic. But it might have just been that where he lived just had a lot of arsenic in it. It's not been proven. And another one was the American explorer Charles Francis Hall. He was on a ship when he drank some coffee, and it probably had the arsenic in it because he got ill afterwards, and he died 2 weeks later. And they found that out by testing his blood years later. And about 100 years ago, a Chinese emperor, Guangzhou, he was poisoned by his aunt, Zuxi, I think is how you pronounce it, I'm not sure. And because she didn't want him to go through with some of his policies, so she poisoned him with arsenic because she knew she was going to die later that day.
Oh, very dramatic. Touching stories. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
And now, we have come to the end of our broadcast. And here are some recent cases of arsenic poisoning. The first one is a case of natural arsenic poisoning. It started in the 1970s from a public health project to clean up Bangladesh's drinking water. The government drilled millions of tube wells to access groundwater, but didn't realize until decades later in 2009 that the water contained a high level of natural arsenic. Another way arsenic poisoning occurs is through accidental poisoning. A lot of times this comes from when people misread labels. In the summer of 2003 on Nahant Beach in Massachusetts, the Glenn family attended a coworker's neighborhood party. This fun time soon turned to a nightmare when their 4-month-old and 2-year-old began complaining about the bad taste of something they drank. Later, they realized that the container was actually total weed killer. The children were rushed to the hospital, but did survive. Perhaps the more popular form of arsenic poisoning would be intentional poisoning. This was the case between Marine Todd Summers and his wife, Cynthia, on February 18, 2002. Todd died suddenly in his home one afternoon and was said to have died from cardiac arrhythmia. His wife donated his organs to science, and over a year later, scientists discovered 1,000 times the normal level of arsenic in his liver. After this find, it still took 4 more years to prove his less than faithful wife guilty for his murder. Back to you, Mr. Sid.
Say real loud, talk real loud.
Hi, Spencer!
Keep talking.
Okay.
Keep talking.
I gotta keep talking. Why do I have to?
Because I gotta see how bad the echo.
And what exactly is arsenic? Excuse me, Mr. Failure Girl. Okay, I have some questions to ask you. This is never gonna work.
Well, just to name a few, there's King George III.
Maybe I can just come in and you can just ask, start talking.
Mr. Phil, girl, I got a question to ask you.
You shocked me! I didn't even say that!